You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Ladies and gents, this is Kevin Kierstead, host of Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. I hope you're enjoying the show. Truth on Tap is focused on bringing you absolute truth about everything from mainstream media to comedy, from psychology to the paranormal. This show keeps it real, not the fake kind of real, the real kind of real. That same spirit also covers our Caps on Tap show about the Washington Capitals. Caps on Tap shows air only after Capitals wins at this time. Please come like our Facebook page and join the conversation at facebook.com/Truth on Tap show. Truth on Tap has been picked up and promoted by iHeart Radio, the internet audio mega monster, so shows are available there as well as on Spreaker and a limited selection on iTunes. To get in on a show's chat, you can chat from the Facebook page I mentioned or go to www.spreaker.com/user/truth-on-tap and look for the live episode or call in at 910-NOLYING. That's 910-665-9464. Thanks again for checking out Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Opening up the truth pipeline for these bitches.
Truth on Tap. Truth.
My right to say how I say it's mine to give. My hands, my heart, it's mine to share. My sons, my heart.
Truth on Tap.
Right to use. Just the way to use. Chop it up and recombine. Chop it up and recombine.
You better jack it up and recombine it. I've been jacked up, bitches. It's Truth on Tap. The host is Kevin Kizzle-Wizzle, Kazar Knackerstead Stadio, Bokdadio, Macmilliadio. No notes, no preparation, coming back from a sickness. Is this round one of when Mike Tyson got out of jail and had his first fight? No, I'm not going to knock anybody out. I'm a slow starter, all right? I'm Julio Cesar Chavez up in this bizitch. I am taking at least 6 rounds to get warmed up, but I'm still going to come out and take on the tough subjects. I'll take the rib shots. I'll absorb an uppercut. Most of the fights I've been in while sober, I've let them throw a few and had no problems, not even some pain the next day. While I was drunk, yeah, I'm a rag doll. You can beat me up. Yeah, not a lot of fight. Not in the past 15 years, anyway. You mature a little, and you realize that even if you have the ability, if the fighting isn't necessary, then why do it? You know, whereas when you're younger, the testosterone gets in there, and it's about, I don't know, showing you're a man, showing that nothing can scare you. Is that what it is? I've spent a campaign in my life making sure to prove to people that shit doesn't scare me. I don't know why. Why would I need to prove that to people? No one's out looking for who gets scared. You know, they're not doing roll calls right now for potentials who might be good stuntmen. They don't need me. So why am I trying to impress them? It doesn't make sense, does it? It's got to be part of this broken manimal. It's got to be part of what Mother Nature does in her design. Because if it didn't play a role in the past, it would not be here in the present. Something made it come about. Something in an evolutionary setting made the macho man better off in the long run, more likely to put his genes into the gene pool than the non-macho man. The Mike Tysons have children, the Pee-wee Hermans did not. Well, they must have, because Pee Wee Herman made it, didn't he? You know, these are exceptions in my book. You're going to have a lot more Mike Tyson fathers than you're going to have Pee Wee Herman fathers, and that's going to create a certain type of feel to humanity as you go through. I mean, imagine. Come back with me 50,000 years ago, and let's just start there. So you got a world population of maybe 2 million people. I don't know. Sounds right. And we're at that point at Homo. I believe we just got to Homo sapien. This is before Homo sapien sapien, which I think was 18,000 years ago. So you got a couple million people in the world. And let's say all the tough guys start getting rejected by the women. Yeah, they don't like it. They find it egotistical. They're looking for someone who's a little smaller, a little more sensitive, if you will, because sensitivity, women decide, plays an important role in promoting the family unit, and women are always and always have been concerned about that. They begin to breed more often than not with the more sensitive, smaller guy than the bigger macho guy. What do we have now? It's nothing like what you see. Nothing like what you see. You've got this world full of sensitive people caring about one another. We may not have had a single world war had that taken place 50,000 years ago. Now, isn't it possible that on an alien world something just like that happened? And if that's the case, why wouldn't they be peaceful? Why do we have to throw our anthropomorphic canvas onto any civilization we can imagine and assume that they must develop just like humans? What a narrow-minded view that is. I'm ashamed I once had that view. Ashamed. I'm not happy that I had it at one time. I hate to even admit it. I feel small for admitting that. But I did. It's the truth, and this is truth on tap. God damn it, man. You're getting the truth here, whether it hurts me or not. And that truth does hurt. It's one of my sore spots, that I believed in silly things when I was younger. And one of those silly things was that. Yeah, why not? Divulging. What is the show today? You know, when I decide to do these shows, as those of you that listen routinely know, I don't put any more than about 34 seconds. I don't, I measured it one time. I put about 34 seconds of thought into the topic. The ideas flow straight from the heart and the mind. And occasionally I'll pull up a reference or two on the internet and share those to give it some credence, credibility. A lot of people want references, and I understand that. When I read for news or information, I need references. I can't feel comfortable with your information if I don't have references. I'm going to give you an example of something in a few minutes here that may end up hurting my show pretty badly, and that's okay. I'm not afraid to do that. I'll shoot myself in the foot. If it gives truth, adds to the pot of truth, it's going in. Yep, got to share a little something with you. This is about a guest that I may actually have on the show, but I probably won't have because of what I'm going to say in this show. And we'll leave it like that. You can get into the chat, The best thing to do is go through the Facebook page. It is facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Don't forget the show. TOTS is an easy way to remember it. Truth on Tap Show. And you can use the listen tabs there. Listen to shows. You can go to the Spreaker page, which is Spreaker.com/user/TruthOnTap, and get into the chat that way. I normally will keep a fairly tight monitor on chat so that I can get in there and mix it up with you. That's fine. And I like it when people participate in chat. That's important to me. And I like to promote their shows when they have shows and they've bothered to come into my chat room on my show. So, it's a win-win for everybody. But first, we got to think about giving the people what they want. What do they want? They want truth. They want something different. They don't want the same shit they're hearing every day. They certainly don't want anything from my show that's been watered down, candy-coated. They want the truth in its purest format, jagged edges and all. None of the bullshit. None of the fillings, none of the preservatives. Keep out the unnatural shit. They want the real deal. The real deal. Because there are thoughts you have every day that you don't talk about on purpose. Whether you'd be ashamed to admit that you even had the thoughts, or you're not sure if it's just you. Maybe it is just you having these crazy thoughts. Maybe you were standing probably not this morning since this was Saturday, but say yesterday afternoon, in a circle of friends, and your boss walks up, a circle of coworkers, and your boss walks up, and you thought about punching him. Well, maybe you've got a history, I don't know. I'm just saying this is a possibility. And then you immediately thought, that's not a natural, normal thought. There must be something wrong with me. Well, what if everybody told the truth, and it turned out that at least 20 to 30% of American workers, white or blue collar, have considered knocking the shit out of their boss on a literal basis? They've imagined what it would be like. You'd feel better, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you feel like, okay, I'm not crazy. I thought I was crazy. I'm not crazy. This is normal. These people are telling me I'm no different than them. There's a bunch of them. 20, 30% is a huge number. You know, you're talking about, 50 million people there in America saying, yeah, I actually thought about punching my fucking boss. That's crazy. It sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but is it? I think you're an animal. I'm not trying to offend you with this. I'm in your class, okay? We're on this boat together. I think we're animals with this outer layer of civilized behavior. It's been put there by religion and history and philosophy and psychology. They've put it on you. The law of the land. You got to follow it. You can't be an animal. If you're an animal, they'll put you in a cage. You know what that is. So we've put these layers on that are restraining you. They're telling you whenever you're going to be an animal, especially if it affects other people in any way that could be perceived as negative, we got to put you in a cage. At the very least, we've got to officially warn you and make it cost you something. There's a punishment system here. You are an animal. You are an animal. That's how your ancestors survived. Take away that animal, you don't show up here. Take away the animal. The animal I'm talking about is the nasty animal. When I talk about the animal, I'm talking about the animal that's willing to get nasty. Doesn't mean you have to be nasty to be the animal. Animals also enjoy comfort and peace. They also enjoy the presence of a situation in which there is no competition. But you are an animal, and you will fight when it does get competitive, and you will kill to defend your family members, and you will do what you have to do to secure food and water and shelter. And you'll try every trick in the book to pass your genes on. Maslow's hierarchy, there was nothing truer ever published in this world than the way the human mind works, than Maslow's hierarchy of needs. There is nothing missing from that pyramid. He nailed it. He nailed it, and it's one of those truths that when you look at it and when you think about it, you cannot deny that it has captured accurately how the human mind works in a very super summarized and condensed fashion. High five, Mr. Maslow. Fist bump to you, if you know what that is. I know you're dead, but maybe you're not. You know, maybe there's a consciousness out there that's listening. We needed that pyramid. I needed that pyramid. That pyramid in psychology in college first taught me how to understand the human mind. And without that key, it was almost the missing link to me. I wanted to know how to get from what I was seeing in everyday life to what the scientists were saying, and I had no link. That was the link. That was the thing that brought me in. It was the summary of everything all of psychology has said, condensed into a tight, tiny little pyramid. Basic needs on up to the non-basic needs. And that's really what we are. We're animals. We're animals. We start out in our thinking as animals and then move up to civilized man as the needs get reduced. What are we trying to do in life every day? I'll tell you what we're trying to do. We're trying to find pleasure and avoid pain. It's that simple. Tell me a situation where you're not trying to do that. Why do you pay taxes? You're trying to avoid pain. You're not going to find pleasure with that. It's a bitch having to pay taxes. But you know what comes if you don't. So you want to avoid pain. Why do you drink beer? Why do you take pills? Why do you smoke pot? Why do you drive fast? Why do you have sex other than the need to procreate? Especially if you're doing it recreationally. You're finding pleasure. You're looking for pleasure there. All right? And the next day, when you've got the hangover and you're drinking the 1,000 milligrams of acetaminophen out of a Theraflu pack, which I do recommend for a hangover. I don't drink anymore, but I remember. Then you're trying to avoid the pain. You went from seeking the pleasure, and you got it, to avoiding the pain. Mother Nature said, I know you had fun last night, kid, but I got to show you what you did to me, the body. The body. You hurt the body, and you hurt the mind a little, the brain, rather, by pouring the alcohol in or throwing the drugs in or sucking down the THC. And now I'm going to have to show you what dehydration feels like. I'm going to have to show you what nausea feels like. I'm going to have to show you what diarrhea feels like when you can't leave the commode. And I'm going to have to show you what a spinning room feels like when it feels almost as if it's been a permanent curse placed upon you by circumstance, or, in this case, your own bad choices. That's what's going on with Mother Nature. She keeps the balance. You do not play by any other rules than hers. You can bypass her rules sometimes. She'll catch you on the other side. She'll get you. She's going to get you. Now, I know science is getting good. We can prolong lifespans 4 times their natural length by telling the code inside the cells that is basically a code of destruction to not go off so early. We're learning that kind of thing. And Mother Nature's going to have something for us on the backside of that. So here you are. Your lifespan is 280 years now. 280 years. You get to a year about 166. You're fresh. Your mind's still fresh. Your body's looking pretty good. But you fucking hate everything. You've had too much. The human mind wasn't designed to take that much repetition. And you've seen it all. And you've learned it all, at least to the extent that we know about it. Human beings are relatively stupid as compared to what knowledge is available in the universe. We've got less than 1%, but you've got all we have. You've got it in your head. You're 160-something years old. You've seen every motherfucking possible human situation there is. You're tired of it. You've seen the sun come up and down too many times. Your mind was designed to rest after a period, and you've extended that greatly as opposed to slowly over an evolutionary time period. What do you know? That's one of a million issues that could emerge with science fucking around with nature. She's going to get you. She's going to get you, and you're always fighting her, aren't you? You know, I've heard people say, and I used to believe that, what a gift this is, this life. What a gift. Mother Nature giving you the opportunity to exist. But the moment you are conceived, from before the moment you're conceived, Mother Nature's out to get you. She is. I don't know if she's trying to make everybody tough or she's trying to kill everything. But, and she just fails on some things. And that becomes what life is. You don't know. Think about this for a second. The sperm in a vagina are in a hostile environment. There's shit coming after them. If more than one man has been involved with a woman in a short proximity, the sperm will battle. There are defensive lines set up by sperm. Have you read about this? This is real shit. Okay? These sperm have to swim the equivalent of their marathon to get, you know how it works. I mean, Jesus Christ, there's Mother Nature going, you ain't gonna make it. You're going to have to overcome something just to get to the pregnancy. You ain't gonna make it. Oh, you made it? All right. So we're starting with the pregnancy. You know the stuff that can happen. Think of all the things that can lead to an early termination that aren't just a choice. All right, so now you're born. How many women have died in childbirth? How many children have died in childbirth? Mother Nature coming at you already? You haven't even had time to learn how to talk, and Mother Nature's been trying to kill you since the beginning. You think it changes any after you come out? She's coming at you with everything, swinging lefts, rights. She's got uppercuts, hooks. You can't stop her. She's trying to kill you. She's telling you, go ahead, try to live without food. Go ahead and try to live without water. I want you to stay up for 3 days. Go ahead and don't go to the doctor when you're sick. I know. I'm raising my hand. I'm guilty. I'm doing it right now. I've had a sickness for 18 days now, and I won't go to the doctor. But I feel like I'm coming out of that. I don't want to try to create false alarm. And I'll talk about that just a little bit. Who's in chat? I'll bet that's Kim in there, just because we were talking earlier. Oh, it's not. It's there goes Apocalypse. What the fuck are you doing up? Hey, Stabby McHugs. Who are you, Stabby? Because if I met you before, I don't know. Apoc, what's up? We did. What's up? Who is Stabby? Please. Thank you. And welcome to the chat. Love you guys when you come into the chat. I feel like, you can help me steer the show. Tell me what I'm saying wrong. I'll read your shit. Tell me how stupid I am on a topic. Tell me anything you want to. And it's going on the show. That's how we do it. You know that. APOC knows that. But I used to feel flattered that Apocalypse, Stabby is a lawyer. He's not Jewish producer, is he? I feel so bad if I got that wrong. Because all right. Yeah, you can tell me. And Stabby's a lawyer I picked up from Vegas. I didn't know Vegas had lawyers. I can't imagine there would be any work for them there. But okay, all right, that's cool. You know, because I thought what happened in Vegas stayed in Vegas, but you're saying what happened in Vegas you brought home. You brought home, and that's unusual. So unless it's a disease, I'm not used to hearing stories of people going to Vegas and bringing something home. You usually leave your money there. You usually leave your secrets there. You usually leave all the fun you were having there. Come back to a very dreary life compared to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas. I do have a friend that lives out there, and she's very level-headed and intelligent. That's all I can say about her, or she'll have to kill me because she does some secret stuff. Jewish producers are Shrink from California. Oh, what's the difference? Shrink from California, fucking lawyer from Vegas. They're all the same. They're all trying to get your money, telling you they're going to give you something they can't give you. I mean, isn't that right? Isn't that right? I try to make people feel good about themselves, trying to deliver this product of understanding the human mind. I'm not delivering. How has your life improved at all because of my show? That makes me a fraud, and I don't want to be a fraud, but I am. Bill Wagner lives in Vegas. He also is a man of great power. Oh, shit. Well, you know, I don't want to piss anybody off, but at the same time, I don't care. Stabby, why would Goofy... somebody tell me about Goofy. Now, you guys, I realize we're doing a total derailment here off of my topic, and we'll get back to the topic later. That's one of the great things about having your own show. You go where you want to go, and I love to illustrate freedom. I do. That's why I make moves like this that are drastic. To go, look, this is freedom. This feels good. Do this. I want you guys to have more freedom because you're limiting yourself by not trying to, you need to exercise your freedoms to know you have them. It's a very strange thing. So yeah, it's a fucking show. I'm fucking cussing, and we're going off topic. Getting high. I brought something home from Vegas, but penicillin shot fixed that up. I knew that was coming. I just didn't know who would do it. Getting high. Welcome, Getting High. Stabby McHugs, Goofy just banned me again. I want to understand now, if you guys don't know, and this is where I was going before I broke off there on my second tangent, is that Apocalypse listens to every show on Spreaker. He doesn't miss a show. He knows every host, every hostess, every crackhead, every fucking fucktardian refugee. He knows who's on Spreaker. And I think he's starting to get TalkShoe and iHeart down as well. And there are gangs. He made an entire composite of gangs, speaker gangs. And accurately, he called me a lone wolf. I'm not a lone wolf because I take a lot of pride in that. My younger self probably would have. I've never associated with a gang. I've always enjoyed doing things on my own. That's why I write books, to be honest with you. It's like reading a book to me while driving the story. So yeah, I kind of like to do things alone. I don't know why. It's not hey, I'm a cool lone wolf motherfucker. I just, when it comes to gangs, here's what I see. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. In nature, especially in America, in human nature, we desire a pecking order. We don't like to see equality, do we? I mean, isn't that something like communism? Everybody being equal? No, we want to see a chain of command. And that's what I see in a gang. There's a chain of command. There's an inherent desire in American culture to be a part of a group in which there is a pecking order. And I will add that my favorite branch of psychology, evolutionary psychology, also supports that idea that there is a natural pecking order. However, I also believe that civilized man can choose to be equal amongst his peers. And I choose that. I like that. And that leaves me out of a gang, because I don't know a gang yet where everybody's equal. If you know one, tell me. But I see a natural pecking order arise out of almost every grouping of humans I can think of. So maybe that's part of it. Is Goofy Bone that powerful, Apocalypse? Stabby, do you want to let somebody who can talk on the air have control over your life and behavior? Fuck that. I say fuck that. Goofy Bone doesn't like me, let him talk about me. You know, for all I know, he's a great guy. But fuck that. I'm not going to be subject to that kind of control over me. Fuck that, and fuck him, and fuck everybody who would try to manipulate and destroy someone else on the radio. I see it too much. I will not try to I'm not going after any of you guys on the radio, I promise. Say anything you want about me. Now, I'll go after people like Alex Jones, who's misleading millions of people down dark hallways into dark rooms with no ending. falsely. About 10% of conspiracy theories are worth a second look. He thinks 90% are. But what I cannot stand to see, and that's why I go after people like him, is because he's leading so many. But if you've got 100,000 listeners or less, I ain't messing with you, man. You can mislead people all you want to. I don't have that kind of I don't have the kind of resources I would need to know who was doing that, and I don't listen to a lot of extra shows. But it's a pack mentality. I agree, getting high. And I don't think there's anything wrong with anything that comes out of your natural feelings. There's nothing wrong with it. I just find a discomfort in some things that are natural, a real discomfort when I think about them. My thoughts are what gets in the way. It's if I didn't think about it, I would just do what comes naturally. But I don't like the pack, and you can't make it without a pack. If you've studied psychology or sociology or any of the ologies really for over the long haul, you know that people need groups to survive. It takes a village. That's not just for childcare. That's for everything. Because people have different skills than you, different resources. You need group scenarios in order to survive, especially in this day and age. But I think in an era long ago, I wouldn't have made it to my 20th birthday because doing the solo thing. I don't know. Mini dictator. If I ever did a show live again, APOC says, I would only ban spammers, nothing else. Yeah. I don't, I tend to, I have a weakness, and that weakness is that I extend trust to people until they break it. There's been a slight change. I'm 41, and there's something I wanted to say tonight about me being 41 that isn't natural. And I want to go ahead and say it now, so I'm thinking about it. It's at 41, most people are, what are they doing? They're cruising through life, planning for the next phase, doing that thing. I feel like death may come tomorrow. And it's not just because I'm sick right now. I honestly feel that could be, this is something that's really hit me in the past couple of years. Too many people dying around me. It's suicides, it's car accidents, it's all over. These are people I know. At least in a maybe not on a deep level, but I know them. Like I've had dinners with them and shit, and they're falling over dead. And they're young and old, and middle-aged. And I'm going, Jesus Christ, life is that fragile. So I believe I've seen the end. So I suck up these moments, man. I'm smoking them like crack because I'm not so sure anything happens after you die. What if it just turns dark? I don't care about that, but that's going to be boring as shit compared to this. And that terrifies me. The boredom. Well, no, you're not thinking, so it wouldn't be boredom. It would be the lack of existence. But compared to this, fuck that. Fuck that. If I can't do a radio show, if I can't write a book, if I can't read a book while I'm taking a shit, what fun will death be? That's going to be that's a very sad finality to what life is. 3 is our pattern detection. I think 3 is a natural pattern detection, Stabby. I agree with that. But statistics also do show a common link between the number 3 and major events. I don't know. I think if you think about it, when you get into numbers, the number 3 is just because things tend to happen in 3s, that was a likely outcome anyway. It was either going to be 2s or 3s. You never notice groups of 1 because that's not a group. A thing happened. And you tend to dismiss it if a thing happened. Nothing else really happened around 9/11 on that same scale. But you can group other things, or some people might reach and say, no, you had the anthrax, and then you had the shoe bomber. See, it's 3, and I think we can reach it's called matrixization, when you tend to find patterns out of randomness, and I think a lot of that's going on. Yeah, but there is something going on with 3. It seems to recur over and over, and it could be, as you know, a natural shape in the universe is the spiral, from the shape of a seashell to a galaxy. So who's to say that the number 3 isn't some mathematical repetition in the universe? There's nothing crazy about it, nothing supernatural, just a natural recurrence of things. 3s, packs of 3s. I don't know. Think about how you felt in 1833. You will feel the same in 2080. About what, though? What are you talking about there? Dictator. I'm reading of you guys. I don't want to miss anything. I've listened to shows, and I've had a friend. You guys may know Crash Jesus. HTLA1 Radio out of New York. He's a friend of mine. We haven't talked in a while. I used to have him on the show. I think he got a little turned off because of my audio quality as he called in to the show. He didn't want to, he has put the money in and the time in to make his studio the real deal, and he doesn't want to sound like shit on my show because I don't have my shit together. I understand that. But anyway, he's a great guy. He and his wife both have shows. He's got a Spreaker show. I think he's on iHeart now. I'm not sure. But he's got the real inside knowledge. Like, he's officially studied and worked in the film and radio business for a long time. And he's got the radio voice. The, God damn it, man. It's not like he sounds like I am exactly, but Jesus Christ. I mean, this is, some people tune in just to hear shit like this, Jesus Christ. Come on out to the ranch and put you on a cow. You come out to the ranch and you ride a cow. A lot of people don't know this, but you can ride a cow and go about 19 miles an hour. And you always have to be on a horse. You ride a cow, much cheaper. You got to clean up your own shit. I'm not cleaning up your shit after you. But you ride a cow and you're about 19 or 20 miles an hour with a saddle on it. It's no big deal. You're not noticing that you don't have a mane flapping in your face. It's utterly ridiculous. Get it? Utterly. Some nappy-headed hoes right there. Yeah, there you go. That's my Imus impression. Oh, Jesus Christ. I made the mistake of broadcasting at 2:30 in the morning on a Saturday in America, and the drunk people will come in. Now, I'm not saying you guys are them, or that you're high at all. For all you know, I'm high. I don't make judgments. I had to stop drinking. You know why? It wasn't a problem. I was drinking like maybe once a month. It was just that after I had my third or fourth drink, tell me if you guys know what this is about. After I had my third or fourth drink, I wanted to drink everything in that building, and then if that was all gone, I wanted to find another building where more drinks were. What is that about? I never want the party to stop once I pass the point of buzz. I don't understand that. From what I've read, that is a sign of alcoholism, even though I don't know if I ever drank 2 nights in a row. So I just quit the shit, I mean, my girlfriend doesn't drink, and I met her in 2010. Well, I re-met her. I'd actually gone to high school with her. And she doesn't drink at all. So I thought, I drink at hockey games. That was about it anyway. Once in a while I'd go to a club, so I said, fuck it. But I will still. Addictive personality, that could be it. That absolutely could be it. I smoke cigarettes. That's fucking filthy. It'll kill you in a second. I have to take medications for my pain. I need that medication. Even on a day where I'm not feeling that much pain, you still want the medication. That's part of an addictive personality. So, damn, doesn't matter what it is. But, there are so many things I'm not addicted to, Apocalypse, like food, especially now with this fucking IBS or whatever it is that showed up. Sex, don't eat it, can live without it. So it's kind of weird because there's so many things I find, yeah, that feels good, but I don't, fuck it. I'll have it once a year. I'll have it once every 6 months. I'm good. I switched to e-cig, Stabby, but I ran out of juice, so I have to wait. But, and everybody says how dangerous they are. Bullshit. Let me tell you something. Maybe they aren't very researched, and maybe there are a few risks, but I don't care if you've got 5 carcinogens in a goddamn e-cig. You've got 4,000 in a regular cigarette. E-cigs, compared to regular cigarettes, are much, much safer. I know that because I know that no matter if they find 2 or 3, there's remnants of aluminum in the mist. They don't have a single case yet of a person getting cancer and having their throat half removed from an e-cig, and they've been around for 20 years now. So I just don't. I ain't buying that shit. Maybe they're not entirely safe, but they are a much better alternative than cigarettes. I don't get the same kick out of an e-cig. I learned that, unfortunately, that I get out of, and what it has to do with is the absorption process, from what I understand. I also have learned that you may not just be addicted to nicotine. You may also have a minor dependence on certain of those carcinogens. We don't know yet. And those are not in the e-cig, so that's why you feel a bit of a difference from smoking a real cigarette to an e-cig. Something there going on. I think it's more than psychological. I'm not sure about that. Did your sex drive go down? Mom, if my sex drive went down naturally, Apocalypse, it's not down any more than a normal 41-year-old would be. it's gone down since I've been sick these last couple weeks, but nothing out of the ordinary. I mean, well, you guys tell me. I mean, what's normal? I think a younger guy wants to have sex if he had a choice and he has a normal girlfriend, say once a day, once every 2 days. That's pretty cool. Well, when you get closer to my age, once a week is pretty good, and you could actually survive on once every couple of weeks, and it comes down to more the quality than the quantity, you know. I don't know. Maybe that's wrong. I didn't read up on it, so I don't know the average number of times a person who's 40 would have sex or want sex, male or female. So I don't know. I think I'm average in that respect. Yeah, that's what it is. I think a huge part of the push right now, Apocalypse, much smarter than me on many social issues, is the money. They've got to get their hands in on some tax money for these e-cigs before they're going to shut up, because they're making mad penny on the tobacco industry. And you know, these cigarettes, they're not just killing. They get you financially. I'm paying $4 for a cheap ass pack of cigarettes now. Fucking A. I'm sitting here looking at this cigarette going, what is in there? That's not gold. That's all tax and fees and shit to pay for your lung cancer later. I don't know. Michael Shermer. Oh, Stabby. Now, let me ask you a question, sir, if I may. Michael Shermer calls it patternicity, a type of type 1 errors. I think the type 1 errors you're talking about also apply to Dr. Michio Kaku's classification of civilizations, but I'm not sure. There may be no link there. What I do want to ask you, though, is are you a fan of Michael Shermer? And I do believe you're talking about the hardcore skeptic, Dr. PhD Michael Shermer. If you are, I took an entire show to assault his ass. Because, let me explain the problem with skeptics in general, the hardcore ones. What they do is they put on their little white lab coat and they sit in their laboratory and they go, prove it to me or it doesn't exist. The rest of us are out here, and I'm a firm believer in scientific principles. I understand how to have proof versus speculation, and I appreciate proof, but you can't always have proof. Sometimes you got to stab in the dark to get to answers, and that's why I like to go ghost hunting. We don't know what ghosts are. I've seen something in the woods 3 times now that I cannot explain through natural explanations with proof. Something unnatural, something supernatural. Does that mean that what I saw came back from the afterlife? Not at all. I don't know what the fuck a ghost is. I just know that it wasn't an illusion. And the reason I know that is because on each of the 3 occasions I had a witness with me who also saw it. And unless mass hallucination on a calibrated scale is what happened, then there's something to be studied there. There's something to be studied there. Yeah, I don't like what he does. I don't like what he does, Stabby. It's too easy to say, prove it to me, or it doesn't exist. And do you know what pissed me off about him? I'll tell you what pissed me off. All right, how many of you guys believe in aliens? Do you believe they're real? Do you believe they've been to Earth? Tell me in the chat room. He was on a show, I think it was Larry King, if I remember correctly. And there were also witnesses from Dr. Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project, as you may be familiar with. And this is a group of high-profile people, so to speak, from pilots, aviators, astronauts, FAA officials, all came together to explain and describe their UFO experiences. He gets on there and essentially laughs at them. Rachel Maddow did this too, on the quote, fake, unquote, congressional hearings the Dr. Greer's project had in D.C. Listen, if you can't trust an astronaut, a pilot, a Navy, Air Force, Marine, Army, Coast Guard commander who has everything to lose, when they say they've seen something come out of the water glowing green and move up into the sky, or they've seen something flying 14,500 miles per hour on the radar and they've got it tracked and they know it's not a weather phenomenon, and you're going to tell me I can't trust them? Then I have a problem with you. Because if you don't come with evidence on why I can't trust them, all you're saying is, prove it to me, or it doesn't exist. And that's what I don't like about him. He basically told my brothers from the Air Force, I was in the Air Force, from the incident in Rendlesham Forest in England basically said they were all hallucinating. Fucking Colonel, we're not just talking airmen here, all right? Saw these lights moving, saw a craft on the ground, went up and wrote down the notes of the signs that were on the craft. Didn't have a camera with them. They don't lie. They never wrote a book. They got nothing to gain from this but ridicule and possibly fraud cases, even worse. You can even have the Air Force say, you shared sensitive information, you're going to jail, you're going to Leavenworth. And you tell me what they had to gain by that. Let's see what they got, how people are. Apocalys says, I believe it's very likely they exist outside this planet, especially considering how large the universe is. Me too. Actually, Apocalys, I believe that it's possible. I almost know, based on the numerical likelihood, that aliens do exist. I'm not so sure they've been to this planet. I believe it's reasonable to suspect that scouting equipment has probably passed this planet many times, and maybe that's what some of these people have seen. I also believe that we could be dealing with something interdimensional or even more confusing, something we haven't even considered yet. But just the thinking about interdimensional shows you how crazy, physics can break down in the presence of something like a black hole. So if physics can break down, physics can disappear. If you can modify physics, if you can get into quantum mechanics and you can change the laws of physics, then you can erase physics in certain circumstances, whatever those may be. And if you can erase physics, then the presence of a huge ship in our atmosphere that may not actually be there, as far as in that space, in that location at that time, is entirely possible. It may not know that we can see it. That could also be what a ghost is, for all I know. I'm going to read what you guys have been saying in chat so I can share some of this. One of the most addictive chemicals in e-cigs we were talking about is benzene. Oh, I didn't know that. They use, I used to know PG and VG and all that. I can't remember what it stands for. Unknown, that's people make claims. Let's see. All right, so, Apocalys said he thinks they exist outside the planet because of the size of the universe, which they currently estimate. I don't know why scientists do this. You got to watch out for scientists, guys. They want their names in print. They want to have their name connected with something. And that means they're going to say, this is fact. Okay? So you have scientists saying the universe is exactly 78 billion light years across. That's bullshit. We just can't measure farther than that right now. All they have to do is put in a qualifier, at least. The universe is at least, by our estimates, 78. Why do you say it is 78 billion when you know that as soon as we make a couple leaps up in technology, we're going to find it's bigger? There's no border to the universe that we found yet. Yeah, lots of estimating going on there. Stabby says, I don't believe aliens have been here either. I used to. I would like to hear, let's see, seeing something unidentified doesn't mean it's alien. That's for damn sure. Understand, people, that UFO, if I throw a hot dog over your head and you don't know what it is, that's a UFO. To me, it's not. I knew what it was. But to you, it is an unidentified flying. Why do we have to attribute and immediately ascribe that to alien life? We don't. We don't, and we shouldn't. Oh, well, I will withhold until more evidence is given. Okay, all right. Everyone has a cell phone nowadays. They can get. That's true. That's true. Why no ghosts or clear pictures of UFOs? Here's the problem with where we are in technology. That's one problem, stabbing McHugs. But another problem is that it can be so easily faked. I know how to use programs like Cinema 4D. I can create the illusion that a UFO showed up in my backyard. How do you know if I went out and filmed it or if I created it on my laptop? It's a sad state to be. It's because now it's easy to dismiss everything. And you know what? Some of it's genuine, but we don't know what. We don't know what because we don't know who we can trust. Technology is moving quick toward making it impossible to trust anything we see. The aliens would have to already be here. That's possible. I don't know if they are or not. I've heard people say they're here in the government, they're here underground in Nevada. I don't know. I don't know about that. It's possible. I'm not ruling it out, but I something tells me no. Something tells me we don't have aliens in our government. I think there's what happens when people have fear is they want to ascribe it to something, and they find it very easy to believe in conspiracy theories. Another reason to believe in conspiracy theories is because it patches up complex ideas to make them easy to digest. Sometimes the world's complicated, folks. You just have to accept that. A conspiracy theory is nothing but an attempt to knit events together to make it make sense to the smaller mind. Some of these conspiracy theories deserve a second look. I believe that's a very low percentage. 9/11 was not an inside job. The Boston bombings were not an inside job. Okay, I don't believe we have fucking reptiles, aliens, in our government right now. Shape-shifting fucking space morphers. It's possible. It just show me the evidence, because I'm not seeing it. I also don't believe in Bigfoot. God damn it, if I've got a skeleton of a pterodactyl from 70 million years ago, I ought to have me a skeleton of a Bigfoot. Show me one. Yeah, I'm not believing in Bigfoot. I need evidence for that. And you might say, well, Kevin, how can you say you believe in aliens with no skeleton when you can't believe in Bigfoot with no skeleton? Simple. Terrestrial nature. Bigfoot supposedly started here, came from here, and exists here. Aliens, not so much. Don't have to see a skeleton to know they're out there. And I'm not sure they've ever been here anyway. I just know they are. I know they are. Just by the math. Let's see, but if they say something is fact, other scientists will correct it. That's true, Stabby, but why do they even come out saying it? It's 14.5 billion is the length of the universe from beginning to end in our modern time. I'm talking about the distance across the universe. They said it's 78 billion light years. Getting high. I read some of Michio Kaku's theories. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, he'll blow your mind. He's a theoretical physicist. I mean, that's part of his job, is to blow your mind. But he also has a very strong series logical steps involved in his theories, and I appreciate that. And he's got Hollywood power, folks, so you got to watch out for that. That's why you see a lot of him, and that goes for other major scientists that you see too. So you know, here's an example. Okay, Stephen Hawking, you think he's brilliant, right? You think he's a brilliant physicist? He wouldn't make my top 100 list of physicists. He's just got Hollywood power because of the wheelchair. And because of the work he did when he wrote A Brief History of Time. All right? That caught attention. That gave him Hollywood power. Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's a black guy. Come on. You want to be honest? He's a black scientist. Instant star power. Long as he can talk in front of a crowd, as long as his IQ's over 130, he's an instant star. Because nobody was in that spot. All right? Wait till some competition comes up. Somebody with more appeal. Somebody with more reason. He tends to get a little too emotional in some of his arguments. But, you know, be careful of who's got star power. Dr. Michio Kaku, I believe, for all his star power, is one of the brightest guys we have on our planet today. I believe that because I love the way he insists on everything being so logical and so fluid from point A to point B to point C to point D, and he could just trace it right on down for you. That I have this trust in him where I don't need to research all of his stuff now. I just need to read it and make sure it makes sense. They think the world will end in heat death. You know, our horizon disappears, expansion pulls galaxies apart, and eventually all atoms. Yes, that's right. Apocalypse says, what is scary to consider if the universe is endless, because that would be creepy. And another thing that would be limited to where does it stop and how does it stop. We are, in our nature, Apocalypse, brought up to find limits. And if we can't find any, we're not comfortable with that. That's a hard one to answer. I'd have to think about that. I'm comfortable with the possibility that there may be no limits. And the way you do that is you understand that space and time do not have to have limits. They just don't. It sounds weird. It sounds too big. But maybe size isn't really the universe doesn't care about size. It's just all there. It's all there. And I don't know, maybe there's an edge. You know, it's funny because in my first book I wrote, Name a Vault, about an alien visiting Earth. They had found the borders of the universe. At least they believed. They didn't say it was the borders of space. They just found the borders of known matter, and it was shaped like an octagon. They didn't know why. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Yes, that's right, Stabby. And do you know who first said that? I'll give you 3 guesses, but you only need 1. I'm going to see if he knows this. He might Google it, though, so that wouldn't be fair. Correct on the Art Bell in the 90s. Michio Kaku is an American theoretical physicist. Yep. Yeah, he's a bright dude, man. We are evolved to make sense of a medium-sized world. The very big and small the brain has trouble with. Yes, the very big and small. Our brain is designed to accurately assess size, and it's been a survival thing for thousands and thousands of years. So we can't just suddenly say, let's imagine infinity. And the easiest way to do that, folks, all I can tell you is just imagine a yard and just take away all the fences and just let it go. You're not going to see the end. Let it go. Let it go. It just goes. It just keeps going. You know, just let it go. You're trying to find the border. You're looking for it, man. It's the same thing we do in a connect the dot puzzle. Where's the line? Where's the line? Well, there is no line. Not this time. Not in this case. It just keeps going. Who knows? I could be wrong. There could be an edge of the universe. They say in the Big Bang, let's get this in context here, that not only space but time was created. And part of the reason they knew this is through Einstein's theory of general relativity, and basically goes like this. Gravity affects time. We know this. This is why we have space-time. This is why we put time in a fourth dimension. Time can be removed and added. Time can be slowed and sped up. You do this with intense gravity. And if that's the case, then we never really know what accurate time is. You know, we don't even, we know what our clocks measure, but you can think of all the examples of somebody traveling at the speed of light who leaves for 10 years, comes back, their twin brother or sister has aged 40 years, they've only aged 10. You know, this is true stuff. This would actually happen. Gotta go to Art Bell show. Yeah. Well, time as we measure it, time can be manipulated. I mean, they proved that when they first started flying at high speeds with these very time dilation. You know, if you take somebody near an event horizon, light. Did you know that light cannot even escape a black hole, and that time can be drastically slowed down as you approach the speed of light. And there's a book I'm reading right now called About Time. And it's actually a pretty good book. If you haven't read it, it's about 20 years old. But it was just a basic description of the concepts of time and talking about our, you know, we have our time. There are many philosophers that believe time does not exist. Event Horizon was a good movie. Time does not exist. And they're going, here's how I know time doesn't exist. Some of these philosophers. I think Archimedes was one of them. Archimedes, I don't even know how you say his name. I never studied him directly. He said, if I draw a picture of an arrow flying through the air, and then I put that down and go ahead and draw another picture at another point where it was. Well, then at one moment it was in one place, and at another moment it was in another place, but there's no proof that I have that the moments were sequential, somehow connected. All I know is where it was in one place at one time. And forget the word time. All I know is where it was in one place when I observed it. So you start to get these questions, and when you get down into quantum mechanics, it's pretty freaky because time can be kind of turned off. Think about this. You can never get to the smallest segment of time, ever. You can keep cutting it in half. What, half second? You're at a quarter second. Quarter, you're at an eighth, 16th, 32nd, 64th. You can that goes on for infinity. So you can never find the smallest unit of time. If you could begin to string those together to show what moments were and what our perception is of the passage of time. I tell people all the time, I think time is pretty real. I think, you know, it can be manipulated, but we've got to have some way to measure cumulative effects on everything. So we use time. What I don't know for sure is if we're going forward or backward in time. Do you? Because if we're going backward, all we're doing is gradually unlearning things. What if time, like the universe possibly, is a cyclical thing? Expands and contracts, like a heart expands and contracts. So time goes forward, slows, then slowly starts going backward and speeds up. Forward and slow, backwards and speeds up. And we could be moving backward right now, gradually unsaying, unlearning, and undoing. And there's no way to prove it. There is no way to prove it. So, man, Stabby, you're getting deep now. Planck time, uncertainty principle. Observer, the person is frozen forever. Yeah. Time dilation. You know, I want to see Event Horizon again. It was rated the best space scary movie, I think, on IMDb. Hey, you guys got any recommendations for good movies that have come out in, say, the past 10 years? I'm actually looking for some of those. Let's see how much time has gone here. If I think I need to take a little break. It's 3:30. Jesus Christ, we've been going an hour. I just want to thank you guys that are now. If you have radio shows and you would like me to advertise your radio show on this show, please, if you're in the chat room, go ahead and list your radio show, and I'll share the link. But what I'm going to do is load up a couple songs here, give you guys time to go take a piss and think about the world, and then come back and we'll do a second half. It may be as long as the first half, maybe longer, I don't know. But this is kind of how I run this show. So I want to thank you guys for being in the chat room and really spicing it up. Who knows how boring this show may have been without you. So I always appreciate that. And I do have to talk a little bit when we come back about how I have started to make a comeback from this sickness and how it just about had me dead. I mean, we're talking about fucking cloudy vision and can't read and all kinds of shit. So we'll get into that a little bit when we come back. Truth on Tap is the show. Kevin Kierstead is the host. And what we'll do now is I'm going to play you a couple of songs, give you time to go get you a drink and use the potty. First, I'll start off with a little song I made. I like this song. This song I like energy music. Music you'd want to work out to, even though I can't work out. I like energy music. It just feels good. It's Rage Against the Machine is my favorite all-time band, if that gives you a clue. But then they're followed by Counting Crows and then Sting. So make sense of that. I made this song. And then the one after that is Jazz Addicts, a band that I've talked to personally, named Lemonade. That's more of a rap kind of a deal. And then if we do have time for a third one, I think I'll put on, since we've been talking about time, 2025. Yeah, it's about the year 2025. It's a pretty fucking freaky song. Well, I think you guys would enjoy that one. By Dokashitiro, whatever the fuck that means, because he's not Asian. I don't know. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. And since that is that, then here goes
You're
this.
listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Ladies and gents, this is Kevin Kierstead, host of Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. I hope you're enjoying the show. Truth on Tap is focused on bringing you absolute truth about everything from mainstream media to comedy, from psychology to the paranormal. This show keeps it real, not the fake kind of real, the real kind of real. That same spirit also covers our Caps on Tap show about the Washington Capitals. Caps on Tap shows air only after Capitals wins at this time. Please come like our Facebook page and join the conversation at facebook.com/Truth on Tap show. Truth on Tap has been picked up and promoted by iHeart Radio, the internet audio mega monster, so shows are available there as well as on Spreaker and a limited selection on iTunes. To get in on a show's chat, you can chat from the Facebook page I mentioned or go to www.spreaker.com/user/truth-on-tap and look for the live episode or call in at 910-NO-LYING. That's 910-665-9464. Thanks again for checking out Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead. on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Yo, ladies and gentlemen, meet your adrenaline, settle in, it's medicine. Doper than a summerman, hoping you to let us in. Vocals are effortless, hoping you never miss when approaching a specialist. It's Togo, your man Focho, your man So-So. They're playing Rodo, break bread at 4-0-0. Reason, please, MCs, no need to freeze, just leave your CVB. The best to bless the stage on a higher degree. There's none flyer than we, fire the steep, but fire we retire the beat. Desire, amplify the decrease, try and compete. Design with the heat, you find my fleets dying to heat. You know we all get the fat itis. My gold Midas touch reaches, reach your whole light is up and heats. My speech a coal miner to a diamond beach. We've been working, searching for that perfect piece. Hey yo, my advice is to you, think twice. Jazz addicts is the crew, we get nice, precise with the rhyme on the cut. The illest lemonade was a popular drink and it still is. Now that you following, it's time for the hollering. So scream for the oxygen bright like a halogen night light. We got them in sight, right? We're rocking them right. Where we want them, stay tight without a problem. Excite right, don't overheat, just jump when you wanna. Fist pump when you wanna. Make no business on them. We gonna keep it hot in here, let's persevere. No drama, just good karma first. Yeah, I put you in the sky, a peace sign for a beach rhyme. No decline, block your stunners, then release shine. We can't free at the moment and we own it. Enjoy the aerial view through your stereo components. Just focus. We know for blasting percussion and rapping production and rapping at function. Slapping suckers, amassing the love is so massive. These brothers on task is the toughest. Bump this, trust us when we say my advice is to you. Think twice. Jazz addicts is the crew. We get nice, precise with the rhyme on the cuts. The illest lemonade was a popular drink and it still is. Lemonade was a popular drink and it still is. I give more props. I give more props. Jazz addicts is the crew, we get nice, precise with the rhyme on the cut. The illest lemonade was a popular drink and it's still
To Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Markets are starting to question themselves, the bloggers exposing our blisters, just the everyday words of everyday people, shifting the tone of televised speeches. When we look beyond our next meal, our next post, the everyday choices of everyday people are facing the storms and curing diseases.
Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Truth on Tap, bitches. You heard Wes Johnson say it. He wasn't fucking around. It's Truth on Tap. Your host, Kevin Kierstead, up in his house at 3:39 a.m., 6/22/2014. Got a little confession to make very quickly. My birthday's tomorrow, but you know why that doesn't matter? You know why it doesn't matter? Because it's also my daughter's birthday. Yeah, when she was born in the year 2000, it took away my birthday. It no longer meant anything except that it was her birthday. That's okay. I'm all right with that. I didn't need a birthday. Don't need one. That's all hype to me. Welcome to the chat room. We got a few people in here. Definitely not Barco. He kept asking, is this the real deal? Is it the real deal? Bitch, I'm as real as Evander Holyfield. Know what I'm saying? I come hard with the punches. So welcome to the chat room. Glad to see you here. If you have a show you'd like to promote, go ahead and get it listed there. The people I have in chat right now, and I'll include this later in the show description, which is very, very incorrect right now because these people in chat have driven the show. And especially in the second half, I will let them drive the show. That is Apocalypse, my favorite all-time other Spreaker host. Stabby McHugs is up in here. Definitely not Barco. Getting High is or was in here. And glad to see all of you. I'm sure we've got a few lurkers, and that's all right, too. I don't mind. I know you have a little secret thing, like you're peeking. That's cool. You know, you fucking pervs. That's what you are. When she gets older, you will have great double birthdays. Maybe. I don't pay much attention to my birthday now. It's just kind of about her. You know, I tell you what, as is often customary in my shows, the second half will be freestyle, and it will be driven by you in the chat room. Let's talk about what you're feeling. You know, in a group that's going to show up at 3:30 in the morning, Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday morning, we may have a variety of concerns. Let's spit them out. Get the shit out there that you think nobody wants to talk about, and I'll get it up there. Hey, Black Klansman. Dave Chappelle when he was the Black Klansman. Welcome to the chat room, Black Klansman. That's some funny shit right there. That's some funny shit. You got me. I haven't laughed all night till now. God damn, I love some Dave Chappelle. Oh, what a special brand of comedy that motherfucker brought to Hollywood. And we're better off for it. And I wish his show was back. Black Klansman is in his house now, and he'll have something to say about how this second half of the show goes as well. I do need to do a few shout-outs here. Wes Johnson, you heard his voiceover. He is the Capitals Arena announcer. He's been in several movies. He was a radio host up in D.C. for like 20 years. He is such a well-rounded guy. If you need any voiceover work, please go see him at Wes Johnson, W-E-S, not W-S-T, WESJohnson.com. Just a great guy. I happen to be a huge Washington Capitals fan, and he does their games. And the guy is electrifying. You heard the way he yells my name in the thing? I asked him to do that. I said, yell it like it was Alexander Ovechkin and he had just scored. And he just comes with the bass. If you've ever been to a game, your hair stands up on end. The man reaches out through the fucking speakers and PA system and bitch smacks you with a flip-flop. Pop, 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 pop. And you're all, hey now. And if you had some alcohol, everything gets all kind of crazy. You don't know what to do. You're pounding on glass and kicking old ladies behind you, and everybody falls out. And it doesn't matter what the score is or who's winning or losing. Hey, what's going on? It's Wes Johnson's up in this bitch. God damn it, man. He's got crazy voice skills. Crazy. He's been in many video games, too. Probably some that you've played. You should check out his resume. Very interesting guy. Very interesting. Let's see. You have to be nutty to like this shit, that's for sure. And if you like my show, I guarantee you. Now, I was a psychology and English major when I started. When I went back to school for my last couple of 6 years, I dropped the psychology because the math of psychology, the statistics is hard. It's not what you think it is if you haven't taken it. There's more fucking Greek letters in statistics than there are numbers. And I lost a little of my passion for psychology. I started leaning more just toward anthropology or I don't know, sociology, but kind of stuck with evolutionary psychology as my best understanding, not behavioral. Behavioral is the math of psychology. I wanted to know the why. And when I want to know why people behave a certain way, I look at history. It's our best measure. So I'm a huge fan of the 6 major disciplines of psychology of the evolutionary brand, if you ever want to know where most of my thoughts are coming from on the human animal. So that's that, but then I went back and just concentrated on writing because I wanted to do I was going to actually teach English and write novels, and my disabilities started getting the better of me. I've been trained in the technical field, in electronics. I've been a electronics instructor, actually was the lead electronics instructor at a career school over here in Virginia, and I was too young for that. I was 24 when I got promoted to the lead instructor, and I couldn't handle it. I just, other people should have been promoted. It was politics, but I wasn't sexist, and the director was a female, so I got the job. When you grow up with four sisters, you're not sexist. I'm also not racist. Are any of you guys racist? If you are, go ahead and say it. Be honest. I won't tell if anybody doesn't want me to tell, but I'm not sexist and I'm not racist. Does that mean I'm a PC fucker? No, not really. I just believe that I'm no better than anybody else and no worse than anybody else. I believe that deep down. I'm really not better than anybody else. Charles Manson, he may have something to offer this world, this society. For all I know, he's working with blind dogs right now. And I'm doing less than that. So who the fuck am I to judge him? So, well, I'm looking at the conversation in the chat room right now, folks, is really kind of revolving around the shows of Spreaker. And I'll have to say, when I came into doing this radio show less than a year ago, which has been a phenomenal growth since then, really, I didn't think it would involve such topics as other shows and hosts. I thought that would be almost secondary, kind of like a condition of broadcasting. Yeah, there's other shows, so what? But what I'm noticing is there's a pretty big focus among Spreaker hosts on other Spreaker hosts and shows. Now, is that coming out of a competitive nature or just a certain amount of pleasure we're getting from those shows? I don't know. Part of the reason I do this show is it's how I socialize. Another part of the reason I do this show is because I like to test my ability to do things on the fly. I like to test that. That's why I don't use scripts or notes. I just go. And I wasn't this good before. This show has because in radio you can't have dead air. You can't have dull spots. You got to keep it flowing. That's why when I have guests on, Ten Fish, bless his heart, a comedian out of Chicago, he doesn't mind being quiet a lot and then speaking slowly. That doesn't work for radio. So I got frustrated with him, I had a guy yawn on my show once. I don't think I had him on again after that. If you're going to yawn on my show as a guest, you're on the wrong show. You're not excited at all. You're going to yawn on my show? Well, fuck that. Not on my show you don't. Because I'm never going to listen to a show where someone's yawning. You ever listen to some of the shows you guys know? Give me some examples. Some of the Spreaker shows where people are just kind of talking. It's almost like a verbal diary. And they're very too mellow. Just like, today I had to go to the doctor. And I would rather hang myself upside down on a coat rack by my scrotum than to listen to that for any more than 15 seconds. Fuck that. I'm not tuning into your show for boredom. Give me something. I don't care if you're acting. I don't care if you're a racist and a sexist and you fucking think Nazis were the shit. Give me something. Keep it moving. Give me something. That whole, it's been a long day. Fuck your long day. Everybody had a long day. Take your long day and shove it up your fat ass, because I don't want to hear some slow-ass, boring shit. You know what I'm saying? We listen to shows where people are snoring. We have no dignity. Hey, man, I swear to God. Some of the shows I've listened to, I'm going, I can't believe there are people in chat. Well, this isn't a show. This is a dude who's saying like one sentence worth of words a minute. And reading, I've been to sports shows where the guy's reading the chat and he'll read like half the sentences and go, this is what he sounded like, okay? I'm going to do a quote unquote here. So quote, well, one person was snoring. Yeah, Stabby said that. Yeah, one person was snoring. Yeah, no dignity. Yeah. unquote. Oh, fuck that. I was looking for a brick wall. Now, in my studio, there are 4 walls, like most square rooms, but one of them is brick. And I was very close to running my face into it, just to try to quickly forget what I had just heard, which was essentially zombie talk. No, I don't want to hear zombie talk. Give me words, give me thoughts. I want my imagination to be tested, you know. But you guys are driving the show here, and in a very, I don't want to say irony because that's not really the right word, but in an odd logical fit here, we're looping out of the topics I had mentioned back into the topics of radio shows themselves on Spreaker. So it's a circle of sorts here. You won't last then. You need brain calluses like us. Well, I can last as a host. I just can't last listening to shows where the person is not at least a little bit passionate about what he's talking about. That's all. I've had Angela Truth on this show. Yeah, I know somebody thought this was Angela Truth's show. This isn't. She's got something called Truth. I can't remember what it is, and she does a good show. But this show is one of those. It focuses on truth in a very unrefined manner, and there are too many shows out there that don't. So I saw an opening and I took it, and this is what we do now. So we talk about the shit that's always true, and we also talk about, and that's why I like to divert to comedy a lot, because it has a very easily digestible flavor of truth to it. Comedy does, and it's a quick medicine. Angela Truth, yeah. I don't know. I know that Debbie Daly doesn't like Angela Truth. I'm sorry they don't get along. I just don't give a shit. You know, and she was on my show talking about Debbie Daly and the war between them. I don't know. Stabby, are you joking me? Angela Truth was snoring on the air? I'm sorry. If that's true, and she left that show up, I will never listen to her again. Because here's what I like. I like to watch and listen to people who are passionate about their jobs or their hobbies. I don't care if you're a pizza maker. If you're up in that Italian restaurant, you're flipping that fucking dough like your life counts on it, and you got shit going behind you. I'm watching you. I like you. I want to see what you do. But if you're in that same pizza shop, texting somebody as you're falling asleep, and the pizza's just sitting in the oven, fuck your pizza shop. I'm not watching you. I need somebody who believes in what they're doing. I don't care what the it is. She passed out on the air. Do you think it was, is this alcohol or chemical related or just fatigue, or do we know? We are assassins in that war. Stabby, you're funny, man. I got to admit, I didn't know much about you before, but I realized that Apocalypse knows everybody, first of all. He has made it his business to know everybody on Spreaker and what the fuck they're doing, and I love that about him. But he also has bothered to come into my show and the chat rooms a lot, and it just makes me happy. Yeah, he makes me happy. I wouldn't be happy on Spreaker without Apocalypse showing up at least once in a while. And that's just the way I am. You know, some people just show up in the right way and you like them. You get this natural, you got to trust your gut in this world. And I believe that your gut is really an extension of your subconscious mind doing a shitload of work and then kind of just giving you a signal, hey, this is a good thing or this is a bad thing. But maybe not. Angela and Debbie know me a long time. Stabby, how long have you had your show, if I may ask? And by the way, you guys, if you want your shows talked about on the show, I'll be happy to list the links if you think it'll make any difference. I only get, if I'm lucky, a couple hundred listens per show, so don't have a heart attack over it. But, it grows, and then old shows get listened to more. I'm getting almost as many listens from iHeart now as I was Spreaker. So... in between paydays. Hey, speaking of getting high, this doesn't really apply, but it's associated. Apocalypse, I wanted to talk a little bit about kratom. For those of you that don't know, kratom is a plant that grows mostly, I believe, in Southeast Asia, if I'm correct. And all it is a leaf, and they dry it and crush it up, and you eat it. That's all. There's no smoke in it, and well, I guess you could smoke it, but it helps with pain. It can, from what I hear, it can give you a high. I have not had a high from it, but I have felt a little sense of euphoria from it. Nothing like with some of the prescription pills that I've taken before. And it is relatively cheap. for a large volume of it, you take this stuff by the teaspoonsful, and if you're a simple guy like me, and I believe Apocalypse is the same way, you just take a teaspoonful and then you wash it down with something. Now, people can get very complex in how they take it. They put it in pills, mix it in drinks, whatever. It is, if you can't take prescription medication, or you can't get it, and you have pains or you have attitude problems, you may want to try kratom. I kind of like, what I don't like about it is it made my appetite kind of big, and I don't need to be eating more. Other than, and the fact that it's a bit low key, I need to have high energy, because I don't like being tired at all for any reason. It just makes me crabby. I like to be energized. Like right now, I've had my first mug of coffee in probably 2 weeks, full mug, like thermos type, not thermos, but maybe 14-ounce mug, and it's got me really energized, because I slept from like 8 this morning to maybe, actually no, I slept from about 1 p.m. today to about 11, maybe 10 or 11 p.m., something like that. So I'm in my morning or afternoon, early afternoon hours right now, as my schedule's been dictated by my sickness and my back and knee. Kratom, K-R-A-T-O-M, yeah. There are a few states that it's not legal in. Apocalypse could tell you which ones. Well, I've heard kava kava works well too, if that's the way you pronounce it, I don't know. But it also can create addiction, from what I've heard. Whereas with kratom, if you were to be taking it and stop, most reports suggest that all you experience is the same type of withdrawal effect you would have from something like coffee. So, yeah, I guess you could get a little high from it. They have a lot of different versions of this kratom plant. Some of them focused more toward energy, others focused more toward, analgesic properties, which is what I needed for my severe spinal arthritis and moderate right knee arthritis, because it's a debilitating condition. It's just too much pain. You can't do anything when you're in that much pain, and you just need to null it some, to think and focus and be able to do anything. So I've never heard of crocodile. Oh, fuck that. That's the shit that makes arms and shit fall off. I've heard of that. Fuck that. No. Yeah, I said anal. Speaking of anal, and first of all, I don't know why any of you guys would like anal sex. Because in my experience, it's like sticking your dick in a balloon. You get a little bit of tightness in the beginning, and then you're just dangling there in a big fucking reception area. And I don't know what the point of that is. But anyway, for the past couple of weeks, I believe I've had my first fight in life with stomach problems. And I believe it's irritable bowel syndrome. And I'm not going to talk about this much because it's fucking depressing. But let me tell you something. It will beat your ass. I didn't pass anything solid for 2 weeks straight. And I was getting dehydrated. I had clouded vision. I've never had that before. I went outside one day, and I thought it was hazy, and it wasn't. And I came back inside, and there was just white cast over everything. Then I couldn't read anything that was closer than, say, 3 feet to me. I mean, it was all kinds of symptoms, not to mention the fucking terrible cramping and gas, and you look down at your stomach, you can literally see it moving. I mean, it was wicked, man. And I'm not saying it's gone yet. It just hasn't bothered me in a couple days now. So, anal sex, yeah, you can talk about it. We can talk about it on this show. I don't care. I never was a fan of it. I don't get it. You ever had a girl that thought you'd like it if she put her finger in a certain place? Now, I had this experience, I'm just going to say once, that I remember, because there are a lot of nights when you're drunk you don't so much know what happened. But I after she did it for a while, I just said, I don't want to be a buzzkill here, but that doesn't feel good to me, And she got offended by it, and I'm like, well, the fuck, it makes me feel like I got to take a shit. That's distracting from the sexual feeling, of what else you're doing down there right now. And corn on your dick. Oh yeah, who wants that? Who wants a cornstalk dick, man? High in nitrogen, low in sex, or your butt. I am a butt man too. Did you know that? Now, you have leg men, you have breast men. I'm a butt dude. I like white girls with black girl butts. That's really that simple. Doesn't need to be big, but round. Picture a volleyball cut in half, the two sides put together. There's your perfect ass. What else you need to say? There it is. Minus the texture. I don't need that funky sewing in there, but you know what I'm saying. The size and the roundness. I will not stick my finger in my own butt. I'm very sorry to say. No, not that much of an explorer. I prefer to forget about my ass most of the time. I don't want to know that it's there. There's stinky stuff there. I'm a person who is drawn to good art and good smells and pleasant things. So that's the opposite of that. And I don't like, but I do like the shape of a butt on a woman. And certainly we are visual creatures, we men. So when we're having sex, we want to see, don't we? How many of you guys like the lights on, do you? Well, it depends on who you're fucking. But most of the time you like the lights on. If you're with someone moderately attractive, you want to see the butt. Yeah, you're looking for it. And I am too. There's something about it. Yeah, you want to see that a cantaloupe texture. I need to see that. And so what are you guys? Are you tit men? Are you leg men? Which I've never really understood. I like sexy legs on a woman just like anybody else, but it's almost, it's a cherry on the cake of sex. And I don't focus on the cherry much. No pun intended. It's just, or are you face men? You got to admit, a woman with a beautiful face, sometimes you can't stop looking at that, can you? When you're in the act, and you know what that is? Welcome to my world. Welcome to evolutionary psychology. Because deep down in your subconscious, you're thinking, I'm about to create offspring with a woman whose face, believe this or not, this is true, is pretty, and that is going to increase the likelihood that my offspring will then produce offspring because others are attracted to this type of beauty. That is a very selfish, primordial desire we have in our brains to see our genes continue on. That's where it all comes from. You're going, well, why do I like tits then? Plump tits indicate the likelihood that the woman is more successful if she has a baby to feed the baby. That's all it is. Well, why do I like hips a certain way? Well, she's more likely to not die in childbirth if she has wider hips. If she has the Coca-Cola bottle figure. All of this stuff, if you've ever listened to Arthur C. Clarke's Human Animal, it is so fucking predictable what guys will do and what women will do when they choose mates. Trying to get the most likely to continue your line. Why do we want to do that? I understand that it may have come about from history. If we didn't do those things, we wouldn't have a line. But doesn't it seem to cheapen what you do when you go out looking for a mate or even just a good time and you want those certain features when you realize that it's really a seed deep down in your brain saying, must make genes pass down the line, must give genes to a woman who will also give best chance for genes to pass down the line with beauty and health. I don't know. All the sex just left the room. It doesn't have to. It doesn't. You guys, if you want to talk about sex, talk about it. Let's hear about it, and I'll put it on the air. I've only got about a half hour left in me on this show, unless you guys want to stretch this out, because I'm an old man. I'm an old man in a middle-aged man's body, and I have my limits. And there's going to be a time when my voice says, "Excuse me, I was not meant to go 3 hours, you motherfucker. And I'm going to quit on you." Tit man here as well. What is it about tits? Do you know that they say, and this is Arthur C. Clarke said this as well, do you know why men are so attracted to the picture, take the picture, the image, if you will, of a woman's nice, firm, maybe medium-sized breasts pushed together? You know what he says that is, and I agree with him? It is a representation of the ass. That's all it is. That's why you like the tits. Because it's an easy way for you to see ass crack without actually seeing ass crack. Isn't that crazy? Well, what if he's right? I'm just saying, maybe he's right. It's up in the air. What if he's right? It's the ass on the chest. That's why he says also, and I agree with him on this as well, that you like women with plump lips. Do you know what the plump lips represent? When women get near the conceptual time of their monthly cycle, not conceptual, what would you say? Most fertile. I don't know what word I'm trying to think of, but you know what I'm thinking of. So the most fertile time of that time when they can conceive, those plump lips represent the actual labia, the lips, her vagina. They swell up. Yeah. So we go through tens of thousands of years of evolution looking for swollen lips. Remember, clothing was a relatively recent invention. So we were looking for the thick lips for the best chance to get our line to go on. And then we see it on her face, and it's triggering something back there. Ooh, look at the thick lips. Why do you think you like blowjobs with thick lips? And it all comes together if you really think about it. Ovulation, there you go. That's what I was trying to think of. Yeah, too many words had me confused. The woman's boobs are not weakened by bras. Where the fuck did that come from, bro? Oh, I'm sorry. Apocalypse had said it's not a good bet to be a tit man because gravity destroys them eventually. You know, I agree with that. And I once heard a lady say something to that effect, which I could probably share with you if you listen here for just a second. Now, as he said, the tits do droop. And eventually what will happen is the droopage takes a bit of the plumpness out, okay, and adds length in. Something
Hi, honey.
like this.
Would you bring me a pair of socks for my titties?
There it goes. You didn't know that was coming, did you, motherfuckers? Yeah. Bring me a pair of socks for my titties. Yeah. Gotta have it. That's right, baboon's red ass. Look at many of the animals in the animal kingdom. Usually it's the males that have to be prettier to attract the females. There's very few exceptions to that. But whatever it is, it's got to be something to stand out. You know, something has to stand out. Mate with me. I've got something special. The hermit crab. Look at my big claw. Look, I got my big claw. Come in my hole. See my big claw? I know the one on the left is small. I'm talking about, look at the one on the right. It's motherfucking Mike Tyson right here. I look like Popeye in this bitch. Look at the big claw. Come into my hole, and you will have offspring that might also have big claws, bitch. Yeah, so get in here. We don't need wine and champagne and Barry White. I've got the claw, and it's big, and I'm bringing it. Maybe that's what's going on. The peacock, yeah, very visual display. And it's all for mating. Isn't it amazing how much we want our line to go on? Isn't that a strange thing? You know, this show started out tonight. It was going to be something about survival, and I haven't talked at all about it. And I was looking just to almost... I feel like I've left something out if I don't at least mention this. I was looking at a site called List25. List25.com's got a story there called 25 Stories of Survival That Defy the Odds. And I was really interested in a few of these. Now, I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to include the link for you on the Facebook page for the show announcement so that you can look at it, because it'll blow your mind. You know some of these, all right? You remember the movie Alive. The question is, will you eat someone to stay alive? Would you? Would you eat human flesh up on that mountain in the cold when you don't think you're going to be able to survive? The people have died naturally. You didn't have to kill them. Would you eat? I think I haven't put a lot of thought into it. But I think I would. I don't think I could sit there and say, okay, I'm going to die. There's food right there that used to be alive and talking to me. I don't know if I could work that out in my brain. I really don't. Let's see. Yep, there we go. There's the show announcement. And, well, I'll tell you what, since Spreaker is now allowing you to post live links to the show, I'm going to put it in that announcement instead. There we go. So, I don't want to boost the post. I just want to post it, motherfucker. Facebook is all gay right now, and I mean that in the nicest way you can mean it. Let's just do that right there. There we go. Yeah. If you don't know the Facebook page, you guys want to follow along, add any comments, you sure can. Facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. 25 Stories of Survival That Defy the Odds. I just posted a link to. It is not good to eat your own body, though. The cost-benefit ratio is bad. I've heard that. The peacock, sexuals, ours mean feels. Yeah, I've heard that. It's you eat your own finger, and you think, oh, I got some protein. It's going to keep me going. Yeah, Yeah, but now your body's working twice as hard to fight infection. You've had blood loss, which is going to require water to, remake. So now you've got to have all this extra input to take care of what you just took away. Yeah, it doesn't work out well. But the body eats itself, doesn't it, from the inside? Once you run out of fat to burn, you run out of food in your stomach to burn, you got to go for the protein. So it starts eating its own muscles. And it'll do a lot of shit to try to stay alive. It's one of the things I was going to talk about earlier tonight, the will to live. Why is it so strong? Why is something backed against a corner so evil and trying to make sure that it protects itself and its family? Amazing, that. It really is. What are we talking about in this chat room now? I'm trying to keep up with you guys, but it's very hard to do. Men sometimes destroy whole careers over females. You got that shit right. I was in Alaska in the Air Force. I was 20 years old, 21, and I fell in love with a girl. And she was the physical model of perfection to me. I had a very specific set of requirements I wanted. Tell me how these sound to you. Semi-tall, not too tall. She was about 5'9". Long, dark hair down to her butt. Had the nice little bubble butt. Had the brown eyes. I like the brown eyes on the girls. Had the nice eyelashes, nice eyebrows, petite nose, full lips, but not too full in her case. Beautiful. Her name was Sasha. And I fell for her, and she sort of fell for me. But the problem is that women have a lot of options, especially when they look like her. And the first thing we want to do is isolate them, because we would like to protect, really deep down, we're trying to protect our own breeding interests. But socially, we're trying to say, she's mine, everybody else get away. It doesn't really work. It doesn't really work, and it didn't work with her. We lasted about 2 months. And it took me about 6 months. And at 21, that's a long time to try to get over her. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't. I wanted her worse than anything. And, whatever. It doesn't work out. It goes the way it goes. We have a hard time believing sometimes that there are other fish in the sea, don't we? We believe we've lost the one. The one. I don't know what that comes from. I think it's because we have these ideals in our head, and when we get lucky enough to stumble across somebody that's matching 9 out of 10 of the things we want in a woman, we lose our fucking heads, don't we? It's like, holy shit, I got to secure this. Guys, that's what we want to do. The problem with men and women is this. Women want to treat men like problems to be solved, and men want to treat women like accomplishments to be had. Right? Once we got them, we're good. We don't need the flowers anymore, don't need the poems. We're not going to go crazy trying to impress you. We got you. We accomplished you. You're just part of our arsenal toward life now. You help us live. And women don't like that. They need to be treated as if you've just met them almost all the time. And trying to change men, you're not going to change men. Women are very naive, the younger women, to think they can change a man. But they sure can hurt you, and they know that shit. You don't want to mess with a woman, not emotionally. She will fucking chew you up and spit you out. Yeah, she sure will. She will tear your ass apart. And if you ever piss off a woman, have you ever seen a woman who's not resourceful in getting your ass back for something? I haven't. I sure haven't. Grown women with a little girl voice had something happen to them. It's funny you mentioned that, Apocalypse. Okay, where'd we get started here with the little girl voice? Let me back up, because I went out with a girl who looked like Gwen Stefani. Swear to God. I was up in Vermont. I had just filed for divorce from my wife, and she cheated, so I had to file. That was the only rule I said she couldn't break. And I met this girl, and she was so hot. She rode motorcycles. She could stunt ride. She would do like wheelies and shit. So imagine this Gwen Stefani on a crotch rocket. Yeah. Her voice was like a 12-year-old girl. And at first I thought this is really odd because it doesn't match her. But then I thought it kind of represents health and youth. So it's kind of sexy. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, that is kind of sexy. And I liked it. She just sounded so innocent all the time. I think it was maybe the innocence thing. Be red flag there. Stuck as preteens. It's their daddy hair. Okay. All right, what is true for women with little girl voices? What is true? I want to know what that means. But yeah, her name was Susie, and she had a sister who was close to her in age who looked just like her and talked just like her too. I mean, just this pure innocence coming from their voice, and they were not innocent. No. She didn't break my heart too bad. Yeah, she was, she had an alcohol problem. She pretty much carried, there's always something, isn't there? She carried vodka with her every time she'd come see me, up in northern Vermont, up where Mr. Dembski's from, in Newport. I lived about 15 miles south of him in Island Pond. And she'd come up from, where at in New Hampshire? I don't remember, wherever Dartmouth is, right below there. And she'd bring her own vodka because I didn't have stuff to drink in the house. I mean, I'd go get it if she wanted something, but I thought that was really weird, and I realized, yeah, she's probably a traumatic event, absolutely. I can't imagine something had to happen for her to have to carry vodka with her. And I finally told her, I grew up with alcoholic parents, and it's bothering me. You're beautiful. I was in love with her at the time. It only took a couple of weeks for me to fall for her. And you have this certain confidence that I like in a woman. You don't see it very often. There's often a little bit of shakiness in their confidence, and she didn't have that. But she had the alcohol, and it was always with her. And grown women with a little girl voice had something happen to them. Well, okay, I didn't know that. But I guess her sister did too then, because I thought it had to do more with vocal cord growth. Maybe hormones, traumatic event, talking like a baby. Yeah. Okay, I think what you're talking about, Apocalypse, is a conscious effort to sound like a little girl because they're in a state of arrested development versus someone who just talks like that. Because, and the thing that makes me think that these girls were an exception to that is because they were sisters and they both sounded like that. I believe it was more genetic. But, her mom didn't sound like that, though. Her mom had a normal adult voice. So, heard it from Dr. Drew. All right. Oh, women, they can make or break us. One thing about getting older that I love, and my girlfriend now knows this, and she loves me and I love her, we're just comfortable together, is that if I were to go the rest of my life without a mate, I'd be okay. It's so good to me to see the testosterone level decline naturally and to be able to break free from the absolute need, and it is a need to a younger man, to have a regular woman in his life. It's handcuffs in a way. Even if it feels fun, the chase, the catch, you've had your series of one-night stands, you've had great sex, you may be having great sex with the girl you're with now. I'm telling you, there's a certain power you gain when you don't have to have that. And that's part of what I am enjoying about getting a little bit older. I don't know about you guys. The little girl voice is informal name for a vocal trait in an adult woman caused by psychological trauma for the onset of puberty. Wow. Men are similar to the age. But it doesn't say if it's psychological or physical. So I'm curious about, I would think that would be psychological, a subconscious effort to sound like that age because they want to rewind time to go before that moment. So maybe that's what I'd be guessing. I'm sure the numbers would go down. Well, you guys, it's 4:18 in the Alpha Mama and on a Sunday morning. And do you have a show to go to from here? Because I'm looking at this show now like a bar room, and I don't want to close it, if people are in it. But you guys let me know, because I'm feeling like I've reached the end of the capabilities of my voice. I have about a 2-hour limit, and then it's hurting right now. It's just got this sting going on. So if you got another show to go to, that would make me feel better about coming to the conclusion of this show. If you don't, well, fuck, I'll probably keep it open a while longer, but we would have to start, everybody at a bar eventually has to go to Denny's or IHOP. So we got to start thinking about that, start making them plans. I don't want to shock you and say, last call, like Stab, you say, last call, bitches, say something if you got to. I do sometimes think about the days of being 20-something years old in a bar and trying to get laid and occasionally scoring, and sometimes it's a beautiful thing. Especially if you can catch a woman who doesn't go out often, or they all say that, I never go out and I never do one-night stands. But then once in a while you got one that actually doesn't go out often and doesn't often have one-night stands, so you feel like a lot of women don't realize that guys can feel very flattered that you've decided to sleep with them on the first night. We're not all thinking, you're a whore. We know. We can tell by some of your mannerisms if you've kind of done this before. But if you've got a good act, even if you have done it before, you might be able to fool us. But generally we know. We know if you're a whore. You know, we know if you're opening up the gates to whoever has a key versus the key. You know, we can tell. We can tell. And shared and followed, Getting High. Yes, you're very welcome, Getting High. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. I really do. And it found a show for us to go to. Okay, Apocalypse did it. Thank you, man. I love you for doing that. Drunken Goobers in Odessa, Texas. So these guys are going to jump trains right now, and I don't blame them because they want to keep going. And this train's about to derail. Getting High is hitting the sack. So you guys have a show to go to. I appreciate you coming into the chat room. You gave me something to do. This show would have been my show, but it's not now. It's your show. It is Stabby McHug's show. It is Apocalypse show. It is Getting High's show. It is, for a small moment in time, a Black Klansman show. And you guys come in and you make the show, and I like that because it's, again, this show for me is in large part a way for me to socialize. I don't like to go out and be among people often if I don't have to. And this is, great. This was fun for me, and I'm just glad that you guys gave me some information to throw out there. Thank you, Apocalypse. Good show. You guys made it a good show. I mean, half the time I was reading your words from chat, so literally it was your show. And I'll put the appropriate credits in there. Yeah, we did lose Barco. As I said, this show's only going to get a couple hundred listens if I'm lucky, maybe more in the future if people start backtracking if they like the show, but definitely get your names in there. To the Apocalypse, please check on the Facebook page once this is all over with. I'm going to try to list everybody's name that was in the chat room and stuff, just so, people can look them up. But if I forget one, maybe you could help correct it. How's that sound, man? Black Klansman, thank you for having me here and not banning me. Black Klansman, you didn't say anything, bro. You gotta say a lot of shit for me to ban you, You made me laugh, and I appreciate that, because you reminded me of that Dave Chappelle episode, and it fucking, I needed to I haven't laughed in a couple weeks, man. I've been sick, and this was good for me, and I'm glad it was good for you guys, but right now, we're engaging in what the philosophical people call meta-discourse, which is talking about something. Talking about something. So I want to avoid the meta discourse and just say thank you guys for all being there. I'm going to try to list your names in the announcement on my Facebook page for the show. That's facebook.com/truthontapshow. I'll put your names in there. If you have shows too, people will be able to find them that way. And that is that, man. And for that reason, here goes this.